Hello friends, welcome back. Today I wanted to share some teaching ideas for this book, Aquí también, by Paula Fränkel. She is both the the author and the illustrator. She is from Argentina. And I have to say that I just absolutely adore this book. It's really a lovely way to connect with our children, our students, around the idea that phrase, we're different but we're the same, and to think about some of those big global things that are the same regardless of where we live. So in a very simple format, she achieves a lot. I decided that this really lent itself to two formats. So I wrote a blog post where I do share some of my ideas and tips for this book, and then this video accompanies that. Some things just felt a little bit better to put in writing, and some feel better doing as a kind of a visual format on YouTube. So in the comments below, you will see a link to that blog post. And within that blog post, I will also say there is a link to my post around developing a whole theme with picture books. So you might find that of interest, whether you're using this book or any other book. It just gives you some tips to kind of go through how you could plan that out. So if we look at this book, Aquí también, it really is absolutely lovely. If we look, and the illustrations are divine. So it takes a series of kind of natural phenomenon first. Acá el sol sale de día, aquí también. Y de noche sale la luna, aquí también. And it goes through until it gets to, so it goes through some natural phenomena, and then it grounds it with people. Okay, so here we grow up together. I love this representation here. And we take care of one another. I love that idea that, of family, regardless of where you're at. And then kind of just like a little push of a question. Pero señor, no puede ser. Si usted vive allá abajo, usted también. Right, so that idea of how is that possible if you live somewhere else, right? And then that kind of pushing the envelope, the question of, but so do you, right? So I find that my students really benefit from the idea of, just on a regular basis, kind of, challenging their perceptions, challenging what they currently hold in their mind, right? And adding to that and broadening that. I do find that my second graders respond better to this book than my first graders, and I think that has a lot to do with their developmental stage. My first graders are still they still struggle to understand being on the other side of the world, right? Or being in another place and having things be the same. My second graders have a better concept of the world. Not to say that they understand the idea that things are the same, right? Or that there are connections. And by the same, I mean these kind of global concepts. But they just, they're just a little bit more refined in their understanding of how kind of the world works and how geography works and how distance works. So I for me personally, I find it more effective in second than in first. In my blog post, one of the things that I do is I go through the text, because although the text is pretty simple in the sense that there's a lot of repetition, there isn't a lot of text. In order to keep from doing a lot of translating, as you know, I really am always advocating for using our target language when we can. Simplifying some of these phrases, some of these lines, just to make them a little bit more concrete than they already are, really aids in comprehension. And so I go through each of the ones in the book and show you how I did that. It's really important to me that if you are, altering text to make it more concrete, that you're still maintaining the meaning of the author and of the storyline. And I do think that I'm able to do that, and you can see that in my blog post. Another thing that I think is really special about this book is that idea of being on different sides of the world, right? And that is reflected in how the book is designed, right? So you see here the text on the first page, but then you see it's upside down here, right, to represent the other side of the world. So when reading this book, I really like to turn it upside down to do this other piece. I think that's just really a visual component that's super important and honors what the book is saying. Before I read this book, I do a frame for them in English to say, to kind of push them to be thinking about, are there things that are the same here and in different places, whether in the town next door or in the state next door, what might be the same, what might be different. And to kind of connect that a little bit more, I made a series of visuals for them, connecting Maine, since that's where we are, so this is highly customized, and Argentina. Taking each of the features in the book, so the sun, the moon, flowers, families, and so on, and created a little slideshow. And I don't have the slideshow behind me, I'm sorry, because I'm at school, but this gives you kind of an idea. So the sun here in Maine and the sun in Argentina, and I did that for each of them. So I went through those first so they could get a visual presence in their mind of these two places, and kind of seeing things that are similar, even in their difference, right? Before I read the book. Then once I started reading the book, one of the things that I have up on my whiteboard behind me, and again, it's not here, sorry, but I have this projected, right? And I label Maine and I label Argentina so they can see those on the map. And then as I read each part, so when I get to the sun, I'm using these visuals that I have that I put magnets on, and I stick them up. So I'll say, here in Maine, there is the sun. Like I read it first and then I stick it up, right? Oh, in Maine, there's the sun. In Argentina, I have two of each. I printed out two of each, right? So that I can put one on Argentina and one on Maine. And so on and so forth as I go through. What you can also do is then after you've read the book, you can take them off of here, start over with these little check marks, which I really, really love. So kind of pushing them to do a yes, no. Does the sun rise in Maine? Yes. Okay, check mark. And I stick the sun back on. Does the sun rise in Argentina? What do you think? Yes, check mark. And so on right through, okay, till we get to family and love. All right, we have love as well. I really like to do that because it kind of pushes that understanding for kids and kind of just reinforces that idea of, we have families here, they have families there, we have flowers there, here they have flowers there, which is really the thrust of the book, is those big concepts that bring us together. To extend that also, I made these visuals which kids can then, so here it says, acá sale la luna, and so they would draw la luna in Maine and la luna in Argentina, again to just reinforce that simple idea. But then I have one that you can copy multiple times that is blank, and they could choose whatever they wanted to have in both of those. It would be neat to do kind of like a, it is neat to do like a, what do I want to say? Watching some travel videos or drone videos of Argentina that connect to where you live, that have things that might be the same, like mountains or lakes, these big things again, that they could add to their understanding of things that connect. And I will say that all of these materials, not the ones that are specific to Maine, because obviously if you don't live in Maine, that's not going to help you. But this is something that's really easy to create yourself. But these other illustrations and drawings are available. There's a link in my blog, including all of the smaller props and visuals. Like I said, I made 2 of each and put magnets because my smartboard is magnetic, so that I can stick them up there. The last thing that I just want to share is that this book really lends itself well to, as so many do, to representation of our families, of our students, and our community. And I think that's just really, really important to continually make sure that that is part of what we're doing, especially when we're talking about family, which I really tried to incorporate as much as possible in this. And so, for example, one of the materials that is available is family, but you will notice the representation. I have centered a family that is not white. I have families that look different and are of different structures to really represent our students. And I have to tell you, one of the most exciting things about this is when I have students who will say, that looks like me. Wow, what a powerful, powerful moment in our classrooms. The other piece that I have represented, if you can see this pretty closely, this is my representation of family, and it is 2 dads and a kid, as opposed to what we might call the traditional mom-dad family. So really trying to kind of push the envelope in terms of what is our default image in our mind of family. I really want that to grow for my students and see family as more than just one very specific definition. So you will find those representational materials in that link as well. I hope that this has been helpful. Again, there are more, there's more information and more there are more ideas in my blog post, which you will see in by clicking on the link in the comments. So I hope this has been helpful. Thanks. Bye.